Succeeding in life is not usual. It's unusual. You need to develop some unusual habits to earn the outstanding rewards. A friend of mine said, a standard education will get you standard results. You want a lot more than standard results? You need to become a lot more than a standard person.
You have to act and decide simultaneously. So what does that do? You see, that puts up a very curious problem, which in its own turn becomes a bind. This is true likewise of any sort of shooting, pistol shooting as well. That if you aim, if you decide and then fire, you're apt to do things like pulling the trigger instead of squeezing. All kinds of wrong things are done. And you're always a moment too late if you decide first. To try and act quickly enough so that you overtake the preliminary decision. To try not to decide first. And that is an impossible problem.
We intend to when the idea strikes us. We intend to when the emotion is high. But now if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, now the intent starts to diminish. And a month from now, it's cold. A year from now, it can't be found. So act. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred. Right. You need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes and before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book. Start the library. Start the process.
And you know you ought to do this. You really want to do this, but you don't know why you haven't done it. Now, first of all, we know that this is not easy, because in order to begin to reinvent your life, you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. I think that among the things that prevent us from acting is the fear of failure. And if you've already failed, you don't want to fail again. The pain of that, the disappointment, the fear of loss is another thing. Because many times when we do those things that we know we need to do, we feel that we might lose somebody that we love very much and care about. We don't want to hurt anybody. Many of us don't act because we want other people's approval. We want everybody to like us and to accept us. And that's not possible.
Life should be an exciting adventure. It should never be a bore. A man should live fully, be alive. He should be glad to get out of bed in the morning. He should be doing a job he likes to do because he does it well.
The fifth law of happiness is the law of expression, which states that whatever is expressed is impressed, and whatever is impressed is expressed. Whatever you say, either to yourself or out loud, is impressed into your subconscious mind. And whatever is impressed into your subconscious mind will ultimately be expressed in your thoughts, your feelings, your conversation, and your actions. The more emotion that you use to express any thought or idea, the more deeply it will be impressed into your subconscious mind, and the more rapidly it will be re-expressed in your life. Whatever you say with conviction triggers thoughts, ideas, and actions consistent with those words, so be sure to pick your words carefully. When you think of a challenge or a goal, and you repeat to yourself the words, "I can do it, I can do it, I can do it," you trigger all kinds of feelings and actions that propel you forward toward doing the things that will enable you to achieve the goal. The sixth law of happiness is the law of reversibility. It states that just as your feelings determine your actions also determine your feelings. This is a remarkable and powerful law that says that even if you don't feel a particular way, such as self-confident or happy, if you act as if or pretend that you have the feelings already, the actions themselves will have a backflow effect and generate the emotions consistent with them. When you act in a certain way, the actions themselves trigger thoughts, images, feelings, and attitudes that are consistent with those actions. You can, in effect, control much of the content of your mental and emotional life simply by moving your body in such a way that it's consistent with the way in which you wish to think and feel. The seventh law of happiness is the law of visualization, which states that ideas and images tend to awaken emotions and feelings that correspond to them. When you create clear mental pictures of yourself as happy, positive, and optimistic, these mental pictures will trigger feelings and actions that actually lead to your being happy, positive, and optimistic. One of the most helpful exercises that you can engage in is to think of a time in your life when you've been extremely happy and to replay that experience on the screen of your mind as though you were running a movie projector. Put yourself right into the picture and re-experience or get the feelings that go with it. You can actually make yourself happy by dwelling upon previous experiences when you've been happy.
You take steps in this direction, you take steps in that direction, sort of get lost along the way, and sometimes you fall down. And it's not the end until you've given up. And just the fact that you're here should persuade you that you have another chance to get back up. There's still hope.
All of us have patterns. Some serve us well, some don't. That's just a natural fact. Most of it's because of childhood experiences, the meaning that we gave things, the skills that we gained or didn't gain. So what? The key is start right now. Get better today. Get better tomorrow. Get better the next day. Over the course of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you have more mental control. You have more emotional control. You have more direction on your behaviors. And when you learn what you should be doing, holy mackerel, you could be healthier, happier, wealthier, and more.
And all you've got to do to start now the process of life change is start somewhere. And it doesn't even matter where. You can start with good health or you can start with something else. The key is to start by saying, I'm going to start the process in each category of finding by my own research. And where you start doesn't matter. The process of life change can start with as simple a process as an apple a day, which means I'm on the road to cleaning up neglect.
Every man that put his all into something and he fell short. Well, just like those kids sitting in those elementary schools, when that teacher asks them to do something and they can't do it, they quit, they pout, they cry, but not us. We're gonna do it until we get it right. We're gonna do it until we write the end of our movie the way we want it to end.
Promotion is coming. Good breaks are coming. Promises you've been standing on. Dreams you've been praying about. Lack is not your destiny. Constantly struggling, barely getting by is not the end of your story. These light afflictions are for a moment. The adversity is temporary. The glory is eternal.
See, if we have some skill, some ability, some knowledge, or some product, then the only thing that's between us and what we want to generate is our willingness to expend the energy to produce the results that we want.
And when you take full ownership of that and realize that your life is an exact reflection of your choices, of the things that you could control and what you did with them, then everything begins to change.
What are your visions of yourself? You see, all of this business about if you get tired, how many of you get tired? You don't have to get tired. I don't get tired.
When it's time to go to sleep, there's no insomnia in my life, and there doesn't have to. Insomnia is one more of those things where you start telling yourself, I'm not going to be able to sleep. Look, you've been out, you're partying, you're at a convention, you're in New Orleans, get into bed, let's say, and it's 2 o'clock, and you know you got to get up at 6. Look at your watch. All right, it's 2 o'clock.
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6, 1, 2, 3. If I were to fall asleep right this second, and I'm not even close, all right, I'd only get 4 hours of sleep. Here it comes. Ready? Great imagery now. Boy, am I going to be tired tomorrow. Whew! Oh, I'm going to be tired. That'll keep you awake for at least an hour, all right? Your body just kind of goes, oh my God, and you start interfering with it. Your mind starts programming you, all right? Now, an hour later, you look at your watch and say, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5. 3 hours. Now you upgrade your neurotic expectations for yourself. I'm going to be a zombie tomorrow. And then when you get out of bed and the alarm goes off, if you sleep, what do? You start counting backwards now. 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You put your body instantly on droop. Kind of put your eyes sort of on bag. Don't expect anything out of me today. I didn't get any sleep last night or whatever. Until someone comes along halfway through the day and says, you know, we got a game tonight and we're going to go out and have a few drinks. And we're going, hey, that's great. Yeah, I think I'd like to do that. It's a choice. You ever notice how tired you get when you got something unpleasant to do? You know, you look at the lawn equipment and look at the roller and the edger. You go lie down for 3 or 4 months. I'm really tired. It's a choice. If you just tell yourself, I don't need to think tired. When I tell you that the kind of visualization I'm talking about can end asthma, asthma is an easy one. Anybody who's suffered with asthma, and I've had a stepson who's had it, he holds on to it and he believes it and he wants to hang on to it, and that's it. He's going to have asthma until he doesn't want it anymore. And I tell him that and he just gets mad because he wants to hold on to his asthma. And he gets a lot of attention for it, and he gets a lot of people to remind him that he's sickly and that he can't do this and do that. And so he gets a lot of positive sort of affirmation for his negative reaction. I have seen people eliminate a lot more than asthma. When people ask me, what kind of a therapist are you? Where do you fit in? You know, are you a behaviorist? Are you a rational emotive therapist? Are you Freudian psychoanalyst? I call myself a do-do therapist. And I really mean that. A do-do therapist is someone who believes in the great secrets of the universe. One of the great secrets that you'll read in ICUS is that I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. And not one moment before. Not one of you who knows how to swim by watching somebody else do it or listening to somebody else give you instructions. You know how to swim because you got in the water and you flop around and you fill your mouth up a few times and then eventually you do. And you know something? What do you think is the difference in your physical skills between the moment before when you couldn't swim and the moment afterwards when you did let go and could swim for the first time? You think your physical skills are any different? They're exactly the same. We all know how to swim. Now you believe you can. And when you believe you can, you just do it. You just do it.
How are you programming your mind this week? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? Let me know in the comment section of this video. How are you programming your mind? Are you making it intentional? Let me know. I ask this question because a lot of people are not intentional with how they are programming their mind. This is where a resource like Mindvalley University comes into play. You can take countless courses and they are all for helping you expand in whatever region you want. Mindvalley also has a 15-day trial. 15-day trial. So if you don't like Mindvalley, after 15 days, you get your money back. So you could just dive into Mindvalley, see what it offers, do whatever courses that you want to do. And, if you don't like it, get your money back. I'm pretty sure they're going to have you hooked. So if you're interested, again, in Mindvalley, I encourage you to check it out. Link is in the description. With my link, you get 50% off. If you don't use my link and you just go there, you're going to be paying full price. So again, make sure you check it out and come back to check me out so we can talk about it more. And remember to program your own mind. Peace.
Look to gain some perspective. And then in order to gain perspective, you got to do something that we already talked about. You've got to detach. You've got to detach from the problems or the stress that you're experiencing so that you can get that perspective of them.
Now, if the human being was like an animal and that we were programmed permanently and could never change our instincts and our responses, then we would have no hope. But the good news is that everything that we have learned, we can unlearn. That everything that has been programmed into us can be deprogrammed and can be overridden with new programming. And we say, number one, your self-concept is the master program of your subconscious mind. It's the master program. Your self-concept is your operating system. Everything that you produce on the outside is determined, modified, affected in some way by your self-concept. You cannot change what is being produced on the outside without changing your operating system.
If you don't set your mind, the enemy will set it for you. You'll wake up, think about all your problems, everything you've done wrong. I'll never break this addiction. I should have eaten better yesterday. I can't believe that coworker was rude to me. Don't start the day off negative. Don't bring yesterday's trouble, yesterday's disappointment, yesterday's failures into today. Start the day afresh and anew.
I can remember being trapped inside of a negative environment that wouldn't allow me to dream, to the point that I had to set my mind free, to the point that I now dream so big, dream about me. That means if you dreaming about me. But I'm no longer selfish. I now encourage you all to please dream bigger than me. And that's how you get to the destination of living your dream. I speak into existence that you will understand the value of yourself, and you will get up and you will do more for yourself and expect less of others. In order to be successful, you have to do more for yourself and expect less of others. You have to wake up and manifest your dream. You have to get up and do the work. You got to get up and write the book. You got to get up and do the music. You want to talk about you an author? Don't tell me you an author. Just let me know when the book coming out.
You gotta hear it. You can't make a difference until you make a decision. So, for real, some of you, man, you keep crying. You complaining about your job. You complaining about where you are financially. You complaining about your relationship. You complaining about your opportunities. You complaining. Listen to me. You murmuring and complaining. You complaining. Shut up. Stop complaining and do me a favor. If you want to make a difference, all you got to do is one thing. This is how you get started. You want something different? Listen to me. All you got to do is make a decision. That's it. And for those of you who've been making the wrong decision, all you got to do is make the right decision. But if you want to make a difference, make a decision. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? What I'm trying to do for you to take you to that next level is I'm trying to give you control of your life back.
It is the animal that can change the fastest to a changing environment that becomes the most dominant species the world has ever seen. It is our very nature to change. Because if you want to do something extraordinary, you have one job. Leave your fellow humans in awe.
The webs we create around ourselves need to be unwound. If you have ever untangled a ball of string, you know that yanking and pulling only makes it worse. Be gentle and patient with yourself as you untangle your own mental knots. Get help if you need it. Above all, love yourself in the process. The willingness to let go of the old is the key. When I say needing the problem, I mean that according to our particular set of thought patterns, we need to have certain outer effects or experiences. Every outer effect is the natural expression of an inner thought pattern. And to battle only the outer effect or symptom is wasted energy and often increases the problem. I am unworthy creates procrastination. If one of my inner belief systems or thought patterns is, I am unworthy, then one of my outer effects will probably be procrastination. After all, procrastination is one way to keep us from getting where we say we want to go. Most people who procrastinate will spend a lot of time and energy berating themselves for procrastinating. They will call themselves lazy and generally will make themselves out to feel they are a bad person. Resentment of another's good. I had a client who loved attention and usually came to class late so he could create a stir. He had been the baby of 18 children, and he came last on the list of getting. As a child, he watched everyone else have, while he just longed for his own. Even now, when someone had good fortune, he would not rejoice with them. Instead, he would say, "Oh, I wish I had that," or "Why don't I ever get that?" His resentment of their good was a barrier to his own growth and change. Self-worth opens many doors. A client who was 79 came to me. She taught singing, and several of her students were making television commercials. She wanted to do this, but was afraid. I supported her totally and explained, "There is nobody like you. Just be yourself." I said, "Do it for the fun of it. There are people out there looking for exactly what you have to offer. Let them know you exist." She called several agents and casting directors and said, "I'm a senior citizen and I want to do commercials." And in a short time, she had a commercial. And since then, she's never stopped working. I often see her on TV and in the magazine. New careers can start at any age, especially if you do it for the fun of it. Self-criticizing is totally missing the mark. It will only intensify procrastination and laziness. The place to put the mental energy is into releasing the old and creating a new thought pattern. Say, "I am willing to release the need to be unworthy. I am worthy of the very best in life, and I now lovingly allow myself to accept it."
Most people are living their lives in a reactive state, automatic reactive state. So we're in this repetitive cycle over and over and over and over. We react to the same things, we behave the same way, we eat the same foods, we dress the same way, just to maintain that homeostasis and comfort zones. And we've never been taught. Like when were we taught it as kids? Like, here are your 6 core emotions. Here's the way you deactivate, your stress center or fear. So here's how you activate your imagination center. Here's how you have more focus. Here's how you develop a new belief. Here's how you develop a new habit. Here's how you release one. We haven't been taught that. We've been told they're important things, but we haven't been given the tools, and then we haven't practiced the tools enough to be able to make them part of our unconscious competence brain.
Let's say you've been ill long enough, you've had health problems long enough, and you say, "That's it. That's over. I'm going to now start a program." You don't have to really revolutionize your whole health life. Just start with an apple a day. You say, "Well, is it that simple to change your health life?" And the answer is yes. The key is just to start. Come on, you don't have to radically do something. You can gain momentum and make changes as you go. Just start. Here's what happens when you start a new direction. Self-esteem starts to accelerate.
Procrastination is the lion growing in you. I'm going to tell you what I mean in a moment. But essentially, you're becoming a man and you're moving into a new phase in your life where you're beginning to say, "No, I won't."
Every time you set this big goal, you never get it accomplished because you never break it up in manageable pieces. This is it. I'm talking about procrastinating. You still have time. Don't quit. Don't give up. Still have time. You can do it. You can make it happen, but you can't do it procrastinating. You can't do it talking about it, all right? So I just want to go back and recap because I want to make sure you hear what I'm saying. But I dare you, I double dare you to do exactly what you said you were going to do when the year started because it's not too late.
You may be neck deep in what seems to be a catastrophic storm of chaos, but I pray that in this moment, you will find the calm, the peace, the hope, the faith, the courage, the expectancy you need to live and not die, to move up and not stay where you are. You get what you see. And that is the formula for expectancy. Your expectation is what you believe is about to happen. And for many of you, you have been so traumatized by the past that your expectations are so diminished.
Now go after it. But understand there's going to be some rocky times. There's going to be a lot of hills that you're going to have to climb. There's going to be a lot of obstacles that are going to try to stand in your way. But you don't have to take these obstacles and hold on to them. Utilize everything you have in your heart and in your mind and in your soul and connect with these things so that you can get the most of your life.
To sustain motivation, you have to do two things you probably already know. First, you have to focus. Now, before you turn off the video or go to the next one, listen to this. A lot of people have that initial desire, but they don't look at their goals every single day. They don't revisit every single, let's say, Sunday and say, how did I do this week? How did I do in my health, in my relationships, in my career? How did I do with my finances? How did I do with any other goals that I set up? You have to have that daily discipline to look and focus on what you're doing, and that weekly review. You also have to have the ability to avoid distractions. One of the reasons people love my book, The Motivation Manifesto, is this teaches you how to set boundaries, how to say no, how to push away distraction to own your life again. But here's the deal. When you're focusing on something and you're really dialing in, it also brings your full presence into something, so you perform at higher levels. The second thing you need, outside of focus, is sane motivation, is everyday effort. It's the reason you have to set up habits. It's the reason you have to have a daily routine, a morning routine. It's the reason you have to make sure you have a checklist of to-dos each day. I know that sounds so basic, but here's the funny thing. A lot of people think they'll have motivation one day, then they'll put the effort out. It's like motivation first, they think, then effort comes. The motivation inspires the effort, right? It's actually the opposite in the science of motivation. It's with daily effort that motivation comes. I like to tell people this, with momentum comes more motivation. Don't wait for the motivation to go out and take action. Actually, take action first, because just a little bit of progress, a few quick wins, drops dopamine into the brain. We start feeling good and rewarded for our behavior, and suddenly we find ourselves more motivation. So here's the thing. Set 3 goals each day. Knock off each of those 3 goals. If you just did that each and every single day, you'd start feeling more personal power and you'd start getting ahead.